Hello, hello, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Wow Wednesday. I am Nancy Matthews, one of the founders of Women's Prosperity Network, and it's a delight to be here with you this morning. And I honor each and every one of you for choosing to tune in and get your midweek boost of motivation, education, and inspiration. Today, we're having a conversation with a true fan favorite in the Women's Prosperity Network community, Debra Morrison, and we're going to be talking today about how to keep busting barriers. And this conversation is going to serve all of us in moving forward in a powerful way to create and enjoy the lives, the independence, and the freedoms that we desire and that we deserve. So, Debra, I'm glad you're here. I'll bring you back on in just a moment. So a couple of quick Women's Prosperity Network announcements. And the first one I want to start with is that we had someone brand new on the call today. So welcome to Amanda. We're glad you're here. And she shared that she's already gone in to the website and put her listing in our business directory. So my first shout out for you is, are you listed in the WPN business directory? Because if you're not, you're missing out on opportunities for potential clients and collaborations. It's what we do. As a matter of fact, yesterday somebody posted in this Facebook group, who does branding? And I could go give them a whole list of people. Or instead, I said, you know what? Go to the business directory, put it in the search menu. We love to do business with each other. So if you have not yet claimed your listing in the Women's Prosperity Network business directory, go to womensprosperityNetwork.com, join for free. The listing is free. And let's see how we can connect and collaborate together. So that's announcement number one. Announcement number two, I want to say kudos to all of our gold and platinum members who came to our monthly group coaching and mastermind call yesterday. It was off the chain, and it delights us to see so many of you showing up, connecting, collaborating, and making and developing relationships over time. And that's what this is about. This is not, Women's Prosperity Network is not about what I refer to as card bombing. Boom, here's my card. Let's do it. No, it's relationship based. So kudos to everyone who showed up yesterday. And on July 15th and 16th, we have our 2-day Business of Speaking training. This 2-day workshop is all about how you can leverage your expertise and your time to switch from the one-to-one model to the one-to-many model so that you can have a bigger impact and a bigger income. So go to womensprosperityNetwork.com, get yourself a ticket to the 2-day speaker training. You will be well equipped to go to those next levels in reaching more people and maybe even get on a show like this. You know what I'm saying? So with that, so glad that Debra Morrison is in the house today. And we're going to talk about what she has a movement actually called We Can Do It Women. And then she's going to share with us how we can keep busting through barriers. Debra Morrison draws on her 4 decades of financial expertise, including as a certified financial planner and her master's degree in retirement planning, where she partnered with clients to chart their financial plans and manage their assets on a fee-only basis. She has since retired from practicing as a certified financial planner and is on a mission to create We Can Do It Women with financial independence, the knowledge and know-how and application of her 43 years of knowledge, wisdom, and expertise to support us all in navigating our finances to where we want them. And she shares the truths about money, what Wall Street won't tell you. Welcome, Debra Morrison.
Thanks, Nancy. That's a great introduction. I'm really jazzed. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. All right. So first of all, I want to start with, 43 years as a certified financial planner. You could retire. Why don't you just retire, honey?
It was child labor. Let's go over that. The issue, I think, is complete passion around women getting comfortable with their money. And in practice, I had a lot of typically heterosexual couples, a few same-sex couples, some widowed and divorced clients, and yet often the woman was less prepared for a financial conversation and more ignorant about their financial portfolio, their investments, et cetera, than I would want her to be. And I always took it upon myself to draw in the woman in these conversations. And it was a very, very rewarding exercise because I could see the thirst for women to know more. Like nobody had given them the cliff notes, right? Nobody had told them, nobody had taught them. And they were doing societies, kind of arm candy, many of them on their husbands' forearms. And I cannot fault women for that. I have a whole TEDx talk on that, which I invite you to look at, called Fuel the Financial Fear and Do It Anyway. And so I'm really very sincere about not blaming women, particularly mature women, for the not knowing about finance. And yet I say it's not your fault. And yet it's your responsibility, because the longevity charts continue to show us outliving our male counterparts or just being single for a good deal of our life and responsible for our money. And that passion has me still going at this ripe young age. And I don't see any time soon that I'm going to kick back.
I love it. I love it. And thank you so much for choosing to follow your passion and your mission, because when we have a passion like that, that goes beyond whatever we want individually for ourselves, that's where we get to make the bigger impact. And I know for certain that the women and men who show up in our community are like-spirited and like-minded. We're here for a bigger purpose. So thank you for answering the call to do that, my friend.
You're most welcome.
To dovetail on that, and we're going to get into this busting barriers conversation in a moment, to dovetail on that, I know that your movement is named We Can Do It Women, and I see in my head Rosie the Riveter showing up with that, right? So tell us how that came about.
Well, I bought the trademark a few years ago. I was like shocked it was available. And I was like, wow, this epitomizes what I'm about. We can do it, women. Well, I came from a little humble 100-acre beef cattle farm. Trust me, there's not much culture there. There was certainly no education about money, for example. My grandfather, however, was a stock market investor. And so when he handed each of us kids, and me in particular, like 4 shares of stock for our college education, all told, all of them added up to about $1,000. But in the day, it was a good chunk of change. And he handed me those stock certificates and he says, Debbie, don't sell these until you have to. And his hands were trembling as I'm suggesting. And I knew this man was not an emotional man. And I said to myself, this is not just a piece of paper. This is something of value. And then my wheels started to turn. My aunt took us to New York City to the stock exchange, New York Stock Exchange. My nose was pressed against the plexiglass. I was looking down at all that ticket melee, and then the white men typically throwing tickets into the air, running around, wading through paper tickets in the day, shouting. And I said to myself right then, I don't know as I'm going to be out down there throwing tickets around. I didn't see any women. Yet there is an energy that I so am aligned with. And I am going to follow that energy. And guess what? The energy is in money. The energy is in us. Energy is in money. Money is energy. The flow of money gives the energy to the economy, to ourselves. You remind yourself, 2007, 2008, the Great Recession. Banks stopped lending. The money didn't flow any longer. And that's never a good thing. So when our money stops flowing as women, as individuals, that's not a good thing either. So we want to be prepared. And I'm a planner at heart. And I am passionate about giving women strategies that are winning strategies. So I kind of like cut through 43 years and I say, here's the cliff notes, right? Why go around the circuitous route? Let me just take you right straight to some of the answers, and let's cut through some of the noise that we've been fed principally by the media.
Principally by the media and principally by men. So let's talk about, great transition to busting some barriers. So, right? So here you are. How old were you when you had your nose pressed against the plexiglass?
I was like 8 or something like that.
Right. Yeah. So just imagine there were no, no women on the floor, no women sitting in the towers, very few at C-suite executive levels. And we have advanced in many, many ways as women in this country. And there's also right now a threat happening to our rights as women. So we've got to stand for what we believe in, to bust through these barriers, to keep moving forward. Share some suggestions on how we need to do this, because this is critical right now.
Right. And one of the tenets of your advertising for today was how to identify and bust through barriers you may not even realize are in place. Right now, we have come full face on with this latest backlash about women choosing what to do with their own bodies. And so it's very, very front and center. And yet the subconscious is so often more dangerous and more debilitating than the conscious. But conscious alike, we want to take note and we want to be reflective on how we might have been gaslighted, right? Look up the term if you're not familiar. There's a lot of gaslighting on all fronts. In all of society, there's gaslighting. Unfortunately, there's a lot of gaslighting in non-effective relationships, and it has the woman feeling smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And so we want to say, kind of like do a break state, right? I don't want to say slap myself, but some kind of a break state to say, wait a minute, let me look at this through a different lens. And so it's in that doing that we become aware, first of all, of fact gathering. And I'm all for facts. I love to gather them because I knit the facts together with leaders whom I respect and such that it makes common sense. Now, why we as women particularly need to rise up against any kind of inequality, gender gap, pay gap, et cetera, is that it's perilously important for us to be able, in a position, to go ahead and fund those candidates. Fund with money. These are hundreds. Yes, they are. There's 10 of them. Fund these candidates so that our agenda is represented. And absent having the funds to do that, okay, we can protest, we can do a number of things. And why not have a lot of fingers on our hands? Money is one of them. So I am completely about us looking at any kind of discrimination. So you say, well, I ask the question often, why not? Something new. Why not? Why aren't you in supervisory capacity? I don't know. Why not? And I would ask you, if you're my coaching client, why aren't you? Look at your career path versus that of your male counterpart. Are you suffering salary or position discrimination? That slippage can add up to, and the averages vary, but it's at least $250,000 to the detriment of women. Now, the sooner we address that, the better we can go about correcting that, whether it's quitting that job or asking for that raise, et cetera, so that compounding can work for us. So yes, we shall not waste time wishing for a better yesterday. Okay, we take the history and use it today as fodder for our current strategy so that our future is that of our design.
A lot to unpack there. So I want to go to, within the context of what you just shared, the unconscious biases that we as women need to uncover for ourselves. And one of them that pops to mind for me is, don't ask for what you want, because then you'd be considered bold or ambitious, or one of the, there's all of these societal paradigms that too many of us, myself included, have been trying to live under, not realizing the long-ranging effect. $250 million because
$250,000
not speak up. $250,000 because we're conditioned not to speak up.
Right. And there's a reason for that, right? There's a reason. The people with the gold make the rules, right? So Let's get some of the gold and let's get the seat at the table so that we can affect legislation. Now, I always like us to, you say, what does it mean to be a We Can Do It women? Well, we want to listen to our instincts. So I'm an odd character. I really am. I am just, I have a lot of varied interests. I have a very humble background. I introduce humor with money. That throws people off a lot. I use analogies and so forth. So there it was. I was in the 10th grade. Now, in my little school, I thought that I wanted to go into business. I had a couple indications as to why, but so I signed up for the business track. Well, in that day, I should have signed up for the academic if I was going to go to college. So I didn't know that. Like, who knew that? So I signed up for the business. So I find myself in shorthand and typing and all this secretarial stuff. And okay, great. I'm not downgrading that for the people for whom that's their calling. And I had this teacher named Mrs. Stegkamper, and I wasn't doing it well, right? And then it dawns on me, why am I in this class, right? It was just a complete mess up in my head, and I didn't have a guidance counselor, apparently, whatever. So I went to the front of the room, and I put my book down on her desk, and I said, Mrs. Stegkamper, I'm dropping this course. You can't drop this course, she said. Now, I'm in the 10th grade. I'm wet behind my ears, right? I say, yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm dropping this course. I'm going to go on the academic track, right? And she calls me into the hall, and she says, you cannot drop this course. This will be your bread and butter course. And from someplace, thanks be to God, came out of my mouth, Mrs. Stegkamper, I will have someone taking shorthand for me. Now, did I know
That's
then? That was an instinct. And I invite each of us to let that bubble up. Write it down, say it, write it down, and focus upon it. Because if we're yes ready, and I know you had a whole course on this, then we're going to ask more often, why not? And then we're going to strategize, why not me? See? And now we're getting to pay dirt. Now we're going to get catapult over all those past beliefs. You can't do it. It's never been done before. Nancy, I went in preparation for this. I listed 26 different instances in my little life where I was told, you can't do that. That's never been done before. Now, how do women bust through barriers? And I was like, bust through barriers, because why not, right? We need to have a big enough why. If our why is huge, we're going to bust through barriers. We're going to find a way. We're going to find a coach, a mentor, someone to help us through that challenge. The second idea is if we have unrequited curiosity. Now, I had unrequited curiosity. In the 11th grade, we sold magazines as fundraisers for our school, high school. And I had sold sweet corn to trailer parks for 6-7 years as a kid, 150 dozen a day, sweet corn. So I didn't have any problem going up to trailers, knocking on doors. And I thought, why not? I'll just see if I can sell some magazines. And I started the first week, I was like the leader. And I thought to myself, I haven't even gone to like 1/10 of the trailer park. And so then there was this curiosity that was piqued. And I was just like, hey, if I'm winning after 1 week, right, and I put some effort to this. And so I did. So what does that tell us? If we have little successes, they breed more successes. I want us to think back to the last success we had, personal, professional, I don't care. And I want us to write it down. I want us to write what the success was, what were the obstacles we overcame, how did we do it, how did we feel, and I want us to put Post-it notes around in obvious places. Wait, to remind ourselves of this.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Please break that down. That was way too fast, and I want to take you on.
Okay. Well, think of, okay, so I had a situation just over the holiday weekend. Okay. I have a rental property on the lake. I was cleaning it quickly in order to kind of get out of town to go visit my partner in North Carolina. And I neglected to check the television to see if it worked. Okay. Stupid, but whatever. I don't watch television, so it didn't matter to me, but I do owe it to my renters. So I drive to North Carolina. Sunday, the renter comes in, says, I have no television. And I was like, oh no, that should have happened, right? I should have done that. So instead of being caught in the shoulda, coulda, woulda, for too long. I was like, okay, how do we figure this out? And I called my neighbor. He came in. He couldn't figure it out. I called the guy that installed it. He's in Portland. He couldn't figure it out. And so it was clear. I said to myself, and she's 88 and her husband's 90. All they do is all day long is watch television. So this was not good. She's renting for July and August. It's a 10 bill, $10,000 of rent. She's ready to cancel the lease because of a TV. I say to my partner, as much as I hate to miss this 4th of July party, I am on a plane Sunday, and I was on a plane. It took me all over the country with delays, and I got to New Jersey. I went up to the house. I fixed the TV. I developed a relationship with the woman. Not only did she say, because she wrote me and said, we're not going to keep the lease. So not only did she say, we've rethought it, we're keeping the lease, but we'd like to rent again next year. So this was a success. So I'm going to say to myself, I'm going to write their name down and I'm going to say, yep, you barreled through that. You saved $10,000. But more importantly, you know what really hurt my heart? Somebody's renting my house and they're not happy in it. It's a cool house. So anyway, just think different strokes for different folks. But the fact is, think of a victory. You went in and asked for the raise and you got it. Boom. That's a victory. Your kid did some new behavior modification that was much more healthy. That's a victory.
Mm-hmm. All right. So here's the challenge, everyone. Make this list of your successes, things that were challenging, that you got your way through, that some miracle happened along the way. Make that list of successes because, as Debra has said, and we all know, success breeds success. And it's up to us to move that needle forward because everybody else out there, like in the mainstream, they don't necessarily want you to. But this community, with this leader, with myself, my sisters, and everybody that's here, we want all of you to be shining and living at the top pinnacles, at the summit, as it were. So we've got to continue to bust through barriers, many of which are our own. And Debra, when you share that story about what the teacher said to you in shorthand class, I realized the programming my mother gave me.
Oh, yeah.
Listen to this one. As long as you can type, you'll always be able to make money.
Yeah.
And I didn't get it until this moment, how limiting that actually was.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Another barrier busted for me. So we need this. We need this. And I know that you are doing a summit next week, July 12th and 13th. So I want to let everybody know about this. You must come. It's up to us. Like Debra says, it's not our fault, but it's our responsibility. And the summit is free. Yeah. So we've got to do this. Tell them about the summit. I'm going to put the link in the chat.
Well, thank you. The summit is a gathering of 6 extraordinary women, one of which is Nancy Matthews. And the other women are Deborah Poneman, Barbara Beckley, Sammy Blundell, Marie Frattoni, and Chris Williams. Now, we have a breadth of knowledge here within these 6 powerhouses. And if you take away one nugget of both days from noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I think it will be worth your time. See, this is an investment because what are we going to learn from these women? These women have all been around several decades. That means they have overcome several dozen hurdles. And guess what? As they share their winning strategies, their recovery strategies, and I'll be interviewing them each because I've dug real deep into their background. And I'm going to say, how about this? Like Marie sold magazines too, like crazy, right? And the point is, well, let me close that loop. I ended up winning the 11th grade magazine selling contest. Now, not by a little. By the 4th week, I think it was maybe 5 weeks long, I had sold more than any other single person in the history of that company.
Wow.
The president of the magazine sales company came to our high school, Reynolds High School, and presented me with like this extra plethora of gifts because every week I would take home like every single gift they had. Like, I mean, so it's like a little nonsense right now. However, that gave me the insight. Holy camole, as much as I like life on the farm and all those good work ethics and all that stuff, I have another ability and I can choose to exercise it. Wow, the freedom in that is crazy good. So
so join us. Well, first of all, I am curious. In addition to selling all the magazines, did you also sell them the sweet corn?
Sweet corn. Oh, we sold the sweet corn, but that was to my dad, right? You know, the proceeds that went to the dad. And I got these stuffed animals and these like foot rugs. Did you ever guys remember them with all the toes were different? Oh, it was crazy. I mean, little 45 records. I had many this. I mean, it's crazy. Awesome. So that was a curiosity. Remind yourself. I was like, hey, I wonder if I can do this. And then the first week, and then I catapulted from week to week. And then it became this kind of like, well, why not? You know? And then I was like the game of golf. I'm golfing against myself, right? I'm trying to keep the score against Debra. It has nothing to do with anyone else. It's against or with me.
We always have to be with us. Awesome. Yeah. So good. So anyway, get your tickets for the summit. I see several people have already gotten their tickets. There is an upgrade to VIP, and all of the proceeds from VIP get donated to a charity called Help Heal Humanity. It's going to be amazing. We're going to open up for questions in just a few minutes. Go to womennavigatingfinances.com/summit. womennavigatingfinances.com/summit. And right before we open up, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about, I want to get into some of the financial barriers, the things that are really happening that can hold women back from breaking through those financial, glass ceilings, from not just in career, but in investing in stocks and cryptocurrency. Like, it's a very confusing landscape.
It is a confusing landscape. And the idea that we can get a financial plan, like we need to plan, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you're making a meal tonight, you're somewhere, somehow it's getting planned somehow. I mean, even if it's opening the refrigerator and saying, oh, these are the contents I have with which to work. The fact is you want to set a plan down. It can be changed. It ought to be changed. So a financial plan is going to give you, like, what's your target income? First, you need to know what you're spending, right? So this is an exercise that's going to be empowering to you. People say, oh, budget, I hate a budget. Well, why do you hate the budget? Because you're going to come face to face with the truth of what you're spending. Why not do that and then be able to discard that which doesn't serve you and amplify that which does? And increase the margin and be able to put some away. Now, here's what's happened to a lot of women. Women have been taught about the stock market risks, and they have not been equally taught about the stock market returns. And risk is the currency for return. But if women understand, or when women understand, and we do this in my membership all the time, your investments have to make a return exceeding income taxes and inflation. We all know we're in a high inflationary time. I get it. It has to be such that the investment return supersedes those in order for you to have money to spend to buy those future priced goods and services. Remember, I remember nickel ice cream cones, right? And I paid twice as much for my car as my parents paid for their house. If you think that's going to stop, inflation is going to stop, we differ. I don't think it's going to stop. So when women then invest their hard-earned money in bonds, they're going to sink instead of swim in retirement. And there's no reason for that. Let's get down to the facts of the historic returns of various asset classes. I'm not going to get into crypto right now, but stocks have superseded that of bonds, even real estate, for the last 80 plus years. So let's get smart about where we put our investments. Now, the other aspect is, if in fact you look at some of the stats, a 65-year-old woman is living on an average median income of 47, everything combined, Social Security, pension, whatever, her savings, 47,000 around it.
Wait, say that again.
65-year-old woman have on average a median income, retirement income of $47,000 compared to their male counterparts, 57,000. Now that could be due to a number of things. Men typically are more stock market investors than are women. Men have earned more. Men haven't taken time off to raise families. So here's the deal. Divorce affects women horrifically worse than men. Men increase their standard of living 10% by divorce. Women decline 27% by divorce. And then how many instances have I inherited as a financial planner, practicing financial planner? The woman got the house. You cannot eat the house. You cannot spend it. You need income. Someone needs to advise you. The second thing is widowhood. 12 to 15% of women become poor. That's below the poverty level at widowhood. And so what it means to be a We Can Do It woman is to address these societal constructs and position ourselves from our investment standpoint to have our investments have returns that keep pace or exceed inflation and taxes, because we need to buy future priced goods and services with that money. And it's malpractice to send any amount of money ahead in a certificate of depreciation. It's just malpractice. But so many financial brokers are out there doing it. So I'm a complete believer in fee only. There's no conflict of interest in that. So let's get smart about how we can bust through financial barriers. Many of them we have contributed to by continuing to not invest in the stock market.
Yeah, I like you said, was privy to lots of the risks of stock. And several years ago, probably, 15 or 20 years ago, I started dabbling in the stock market, lost money. And then, I just made a decision. It was too risky and I wasn't going back into it.
Right.
Until I started working with you.
Yeah.
And now I understand the different types of stocks and how I want to have a combination of stocks and bonds and the allocation of the different ways the assets go. So I have learned so much from you, and my net worth is increasing because of you. I'm busting through barriers like everybody else, right? And you are too, still to this day. You had to bust through some barriers to get the whole TV situation fixed, right? Yeah. And you did. Right. Let's go ahead. I want to open up for some questions and comments. And Lawana Bradford is with us. She was actually she's an amazing woman. So I would love to bring Lawana Bradford on open up the conversation. Where is my friend Lawana? If she's here, Lawana, could I get you to go ahead and contribute? You were one of the speakers at last year's Women Bustin' Barriers Summit. You have shared some profound statistics and numbers, because yes, this is about women not earning as much and not having as much, retirement income. But then when we look at women of color, Black and brown women, Lawana, please shed your light.
Hi, Debra. Nancy, how's it going, everyone? Good morning.
Thanks so much. I'm so happy that you're going to chime in, because I neglected to do that, and it is true. Go for it.
Oh yeah, no worries. I love everything that you said, and I think one of the things that we tend to hear when we're having conversations, when we're talking about changing the narrative, is we bundle everything together, right? Like you said, with the average is 47,000 in retirement. But when you look at Black and brown communities, we're retiring with $17,000.
It's horrific.
I mean, you can't live on $17,000 now, let alone when you're 65. And that's due to having limited to no investments, sole reliance on Social Security, because, the pension has basically gone the way of the dodo. And it really requires us to develop critical strategies. It's not impossible to live a life that you want, a life that has sustainability. But in this wonky, crazy world that we're in, you have to partner with the experts to guide you. You just have to, because if you're not tapped into the expert, then you're playing Russian roulette with your finances.
That's quite correct. And I do appreciate your pointing this out. I mean, there are horrific statistics about Black and brown women, and then Indian women, Asian women, and Native American women. So Indian and Native American, they just go down from there. That's the best case scenario. That's what I'm giving you, is best case scenario. So yes, it is completely relevant for us to particularly attune ourselves to the task at hand. Okay. And that is to be intentional about our money, right? If you've got a 7+ year goal, which for some of you is retirement, like I don't even care if you're 65 now and say, I'm 65 now, it's too late. No, unless you have a terminal diagnosis, right? I got to figure, as a planner, I figured you're living until age of 100, because you probably had a good chance of doing that. They probably still do. So the issue is it's never too late. And we need to go ahead and shift those 7+ year goals into stocks. And if you want to start someplace, start with the Standard & Poor's 500 and then derivate from there. Yet the aspect of us, to Nancy's point, getting down on ourselves because we made a mistake. Who has raised children or knows someone who has? Okay, like everyone. Okay. Have you been happy with your kid every moment of every day? Has the kid been perfect? Are they a Rhodes Scholar, athlete, good looking? You get the point. There's always going to be some disappointments. If Warren Buffett can admit to 4 billion, that was with a B, dollar mistakes, who do you think you are to put yourself out to be a perfect investor? It ain't happening, gals.
Right.
It just doesn't happen. So get it out of your mind. See, we gotta get the clutter out of our mind so that we can bring the fodder and the future of our success financially and personally, because Nancy, your net worth has gone up and your self-worth has gone up, has it not?
Oh, big time, big time.
Right now.
Yeah.
So let's get through. Oh, I made a mistake and I lost some money. Yeah, I did too, girls. I did.
Mm-hmm. And that's some of the
35 years in the business. I lost $250,000 in a Ponzi scheme. Okay, that was then in an IRA, couldn't even write it off. How about feeling stupid, embarrassed, and I dare say suicidal because this was my business. Mm-hmm. And I recovered. Why? I brought to the fore my why. I was still serving as a certified financial planner to 40 valued individual clients, and they didn't know this happened. This was my personal money. None of their money was in this. And I still had a responsibility to be that person that I said I was going to be for them. And I stepped into that role and I've recovered financially and I've recovered emotionally, and you can too. So if you want to deal with someone that it never admits that they never made a mistake, then they probably invested in certificates of depreciation, and they're probably going to be pretty poor in the retirement. If you're wanting to look at some women, these 6 particularly that I'm hosting next Tuesday and Wednesday that have made mistakes, myself included, and have recovered from them and pushed through previous barriers, subconscious or conscious, then tune in, because you're likely to come away with a nugget that you can take all the way to the stock market. Forget that all the way to the bank nonsense.
Love it. Forget that all the way. So good. So good. Well, Lawana Bradford, thank you for dropping your nuggets of wisdom and your passion and your commitment to help raise us all up. I love you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. And everyone register for the conference.
Yes, register for the conference. And then Lawana, and hopefully Lawana is actually going to be my guest next week. She's got another event coming up at the end of the month. And Lawana, if you want to put it in the chat or something like that, because your event is powerful as they always are. Love you, my friend.
Thank you. Love you both.
Okay. Yeah, I love you too, Lawana. And I'm pleased to be one of the speakers at that event. So everybody join in the end of July.
Yeah, yes, yes, yes. So let's go ahead, get your tickets to the Women Bustin Barrier Summit, July 12th and 13th. It's Tuesday and Wednesday next week. And I saw someone mention that they thought it conflicted with speaker training. It doesn't. So we're good on that. Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, completely free. You could upgrade to VIP. That's got a whole bunch of bonuses in it for you. And let me go ahead and open up for some questions. So I see phone number 919. Is that Adrian who is back to be with us again? You can hit *6. There we go. Good morning.
This is Pastor Darlene.
Oh, Pastor Darlene. Hi, good morning.
How are you today? Wow. This has been, again, phenomenal and challenging as well. You know, Debra, when you were talking about things that happened when you were younger, I remember doing similar things. You know, I had the greeting cards, and I was selling greeting cards, doing things when I was younger, not realizing that that's the heart of an entrepreneur who just wants to be able to do things and make their own money, make their own way. But in the process, I made some mistakes where I didn't know certain things, didn't know to do certain things. And I'm thankful for this this session that you just reminded us that even in the midst of making mistakes, because that's as a child, you learn those things and you think, wow, am I really good enough? Am I really qualified? And you second guess yourself, and sometimes you don't step into the greatness that you really carry, and then you have to figure out a way to get it back. And I'm thankful for rooms like this, for sessions like this that remind us that no matter how many mistakes we make, it's not in the mistakes that you make, it's in the getting up afterwards and moving forward and staying focused on what you know, and then making sure you're in rooms with people that, what do they say? If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
You
And
are.
I'm thankful to like this. So thank you so much for everything. And I'm going to be registering for this class. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, great. So also looking forward to having you.
Awesome. Wonderful.
Thank you, Debra. And thank you, Nancy. You rock.
You're welcome. Like I have an awesome community of which to pull guests from. Like I am truly blessed. So good stuff. Thank you, Pastor Darlene. Reminding everyone, get your ticket. Go to womennavigatingfinances.com/summit, SUMMIT, July 12th and 13th, just 2 hours every day. You will be rocked. You will be inspired, and you'll bust through some barriers that you didn't even know were there. So you can propel to that next level. Let's go ahead, and our next caller, Mary Jane Charles.
Good morning. So I went to Catherine Gibbs, and I knew I was taught shorthand and accounting, and I was just almost in tears every day because I wasn't fast enough in the shorthand, and it was accounting with the spreadsheets and pencil, and I was nervous, and all the lead would be on my left hand because anyway, I thought, so then it ended up, the woman told me at the end of the year, I'm hireable. And my innate survival skills are like, I feel like she's putting me off. It preceded all the special ed, I felt like I was completing a special ed course or something, and I was now hireable. Anyway, it can stick with you for a while. So I am so pleased to be here, and I've now met WPM. I did not hold on to those things. I got the flak out of Dodge as soon as I could get in the car. But, people don't realize the impact of what they say. And my mother was coming from the fact she survived the Depression. And so she was halfway there. You got to be able to take care of yourself. So I'm just here to say I'm on my way, and I'll fix my calendar. I will be there for both days. I don't know why I thought it was conflict. So anyone who's not worked with Debra before, please sign up for everything. If not, you're losing a good friend in the world. And it's okay to have good friends wherever you go. And don't take shorthand.
That is awesome.
Thank you, Mary Charles.
Mary Jane, thank you so much. And it is a pleasure and really a delight to see how you, as well as myself and all the other women in our community, just keep expanding to those higher and higher versions of ourselves that are in there deep down. We just got to clear away some of the stuff that we didn't even realize was covering up our awesomeness. So Mary Jane, thank you for being totally freaking awesome and being part of our community.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, everyone. We've got some time for any questions, comments that you have for Debra today. Go ahead and hit *6 on your phone, or if you're on your computer, you can unmute and raise your hand. We would love to take whatever questions you may have. So let's go ahead. I see a couple of hands raised. Laura Barker.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. First of all, I just love Nancy Matthews and Debra Morrison so much that this is what a powerhouse today. Oh my gosh, right?
Dynamic duo.
It is, absolutely, absolutely. And I have had the pleasure of working with Debra for months and months now. And I just want to say that I came from a place of fear and totally focused on risk. And, you know, I've made money in my life, but had no idea what to do with it. And I've had a lot of financial challenges in my life also. Working with Debra has given me peace of mind, more money in my bank account, which is really nice, direction, focus, understanding. The guidance that Debra brings to the table is priceless. I could not put a price on Debra's help and what she's done for me, and what I know she is doing for so many other women. And, you know, if your money is not where you want it to be, and you think that, well, I can't afford a financial planner like Debra, let me tell you something. You cannot afford not to have a financial planner like Debra, because Debra will increase your net worth, period, paragraph. And if you think you can do it on your own, well, look at your bank account, right? Because it's not there. That's all I'm going to say, right?
That was a good one, Laura.
Well, it's just, it's coming from the heart. I mean, that's where I was. I mean, I felt like, why would I hire a financial planner? She's, you know, what do I do with it? But of course, I went to your workshops and I thought, I really came away with the understanding that I cannot afford not to hire an expert, because I don't know anything about this. And my bank account is not where it needs to be. So, Debra,
on the right trajectory.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you. Love you so much. Just so grateful. Thank you.
You're welcome. You know, to that point, Laura, you are so right. And I inherited some people that had done it themselves. Very, very smart people. And mostly they were looking at investments, right? And they would present their issue because, like, when it came to crunch time, like, can I retire, right? Can we sustain our monthly life income for life, ever increasing? And I would hear what these people had done, and the inside of my cheeks would be raw, because I'm thinking to myself, I would have done that. Oh, we could have saved $40,000 there. I mean, I'm not making this up. I'm not making it up. And I'm not saying these people weren't smart. They were very smart, but they didn't have the training that a fee-only planner has as to when you make an investment, it triggers your taxes, and it triggers something else, and it triggers something else. And that dovetailing of strategies is invaluable. And so the essence of a fee-only financial planner with continuing education credits each year in each one of the areas, tax, in investments, insurance, estate planning, cash flow and budgeting, and risk management, et cetera. I mean, the whole banana, not the broker that's going to pop you a penny stock. And so the do-it-yourselfers don't ever know what money they left on the table. And that's the shame of it.
Absolutely.
Just saying.
Well said.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Laura, thank you for being here and all you contribute to our community. You are amazing, and I love and appreciate you. And I'm going to sneak something in here. Laura's doing a master class next week, and for the first time ever, she's going to let people come for free. So
It's true. It's true.
So it's a summertime gift to you. If you want to grow your LinkedIn, attend Laura's class, go to barkerbusinesssolutions.com, and she'll put the link in the chat. I couldn't help it. When she told me she was doing that as a gift over the summer, I was like, what? It was really
Be there or be square.
Be there, be square. Awesome. All right, everyone. We still have some time for questions. I got several people in queue. Let me open up for Olivia Jones.
I just want to, I just have a quick comment, because I think the topic that we're talking about, especially God wants you to be rich. A lot of times we get into this mentality that, you know, money is the root of all evil.
Oh, yeah.
And so to be able to make a shift in that, and then what this has done for me is it gives me an opportunity to really take a look at how I was raised and what I believe. Even like, being a woman of faith and is still having that limiting belief to bust through that barrier that, yes, I can do it. God has given me these talents. I need to be a steward over what he has gifted me with and being wise in how I handle it. And so it's a great topic to be able to have just discussion about it, because oftentimes, and especially in the African American community, when you start talking about money, the conversation goes a little funny.
Yeah, it does. And that's my topic. Thanks, Olivia. That's my topic at Luana and Barbara's conference, the end of July. So God wants you to be wealthy, and God does, based upon the Bible verses.
Yes.
And I was raised Christian fundamentalist. So pop over on that time, because I'm going to dismantle some of those nonsense fears or whatever notions that we have about money, the root of all evil.
Yes. So thank you. Thank you, Debra.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, Olivia. Appreciate you greatly. And I do want to mention a couple of things from today's conversation. So, join us for the summit, womennavigatingfinances.com/summit. And one of the things that you talked about early on in our conversation, where's those $100 bills? We need to have money to make our voices heard, to have freedom. I like what you said about being able to contribute to the political candidates that we want to be representing us at the table. And on this note, I am urging every single woman, you got to get out and vote. Find out where your primaries are. Who are your local officials? It has never been more important than now that our voices are heard at the state level. Get out there and vote. Yeah, you know what? You're going to have to read through the bios of these candidates and find out, what do they stand for? What do they not stand for? But I don't know about you. I want to know who's in my community representing me. I want to know what they stand for, because they're making decisions that affect me and my children. Absolutely. We have a responsibility, and all the information you need is available. So I'm on my soapbox right now. Get out there and vote. Primaries, everything. We've got to do this. Make your voice heard. So had to do that. Local voting is more important than ever. Absolutely, absolutely. So get out there, place your vote, let your voice be heard. And I want you to remember our sisters in the suffragette movement, what they had to do to get us this right. And if we don't get out and use it, what was it all for?
Absolutely.
You still want to be able to get credit cards on your own. I remember my mother couldn't get a credit card without my drunken alcoholic father agreeing to it. Really?
That's right.
So you triggered something in me today, my friend.
Right now. I'm with you. Amen.
Yeah. Oh my God. Let's go ahead. Next caller is Eves Ramirez.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
So thank you for this important topic. I definitely is not my strength. And I think that the amazing thing, one of the amazing things that you expressed is not that you were able to share your losses, is how you came back from that loss. So that's what's amazing and really inspiring for me. So I have a question for you. What do you recommend or suggest that we do moves in our 401k?
Well, of course, I've retired and sold my business, and so I'm not rendering advice per se any longer. And yet I am serving as a financial coach for women. And I am adhering back to stocks being one of the better investments, at least historically, the returns have been superior to those of bonds. And so if you expect to live 7+ years, because it's not just you need money at 65 and 70, you need money at 78, 79, 82, 87, right? And so you want to position that money for the future into an investment that has a fighting chance based upon historic returns of giving you that return, right? And so stocks would be that asset class, that selection. And so you want to think of things like everybody has a calendar, whether it's on your phone or you have a paper calendar, and you be planning, okay, it's somebody's birthday in August, right? Probably, you're not going to go out and buy the cake today for August. You're going to wait until August, or someone's getting married in 2 years. So you're going to plan that for 2 years hence. So I want us to chunk down our life. It sounds so common sense, and yet so few people do it. I have a whole goal money investment timeline that I created that indicates a time swath, 0 to 12 months, 1 to 3 years, 3 to 5 years, 5 to 7 years, 7+ years. And I want you to put your goals on the top of that line. Just draw a horizontal line, put your goals on the top of that line. Oh, in the next year, I'm going to need to replace my car. I want to have a lake house in 5 to 7 years. I'm going to quote unquote retire 7+ years. I need to educate a kid or two, whatever it is. And then on the underneath, the financial advisor would give you the matching investments, because just like you have a swimsuit and probably a long skirt or an evening gown in your wardrobe, as well as blouses and shorts and slacks, you do not wear the swimsuit to the wedding. So you really need, you have spices in your cabinet. You do not take out the Montreal steak for your chocolate cake. I know I sound stupid right now, but when people come to me and they say, I got one of everything, I think, oh, it's not effective, right? It's maybe diversified in someone's imagination, but it's not going to get you there. And I am all about the truth telling. What is your situation? Let's analyze it, know from whence we start. What is your why? What is your goal? Put a timeline on it, even if you have to change it. Then put a money figure beside it. And now I'll tell you, at least based on historical returns, how best to select the asset types to fund those particular timed goals. See how easy it is? And when you put a cake in the oven and the recipe calls for 350 degrees for 50 minutes, and you put it in, you mix up all of your premium ingredients, you take your time, you put it in the oven, and then in 10 minutes, you get real curious and you open the oven door and you jerk out the cake. It is not going to look too good, and it probably won't taste too good because you didn't follow the recipe. So this is the kind of down home that you can expect from me. The analogies to bring finances into our lexicon so that we can use it, the tool called money, to give us our next success, to achieve our why.
Powerful, right, Evie?
Yes, thank you.
Amazing.
So with your 401k, if you got to have a portion of it in stocks, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing, because I've worked with you myself over time, is she would probably recommend that you find yourself a fee-only certified financial planner.
Right. And those can be found at napfa.org, napfa.org. If someone can throw that in the chat, that'd be good. Or Garrett Financial Planning. They also do fee-only planning.
Okay.
There we go. So fee-only financial planning. I'm going to stick that in the chat too. All right, this is hot. So Peg Duchesne wrote, yes, this is all about truth telling. And can you see why you need to come to the summit and have Debra by your side? She's doing this summit for free. You can upgrade to VIP and you'll get a bonus VIP session with her. It's just $47 and it's going to a charity. So come on in, join us for this summit, July 12th and 13th. Go to womennavigatingfinances.com/summit. Get in. Even if you can't be there for the whole thing, get the replays. We need this. Thank you. We can do it women, because we can do it and we get to do it. Thank you, Debra, for your wisdom, your guidance, your mentorship, and your friendship. You are amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you, Nancy, for the opportunity.
My pleasure to bring you extraordinary women doing extraordinary things, and that is every single one of you. So let's get out there, keep busting barriers. We'll see you again next week for another wow and many times on the in-between. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye there.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us.